So for the better part of this webinar, I would ask that you can just really try and stay focused and invest your time in yourself by being here and being present. So that means phones off, multi-screens off, emails off. Just take this time, and because you've already said yes. You said, yes, this is what I want. And what I know for sure is that multitasking never works. And so every time you're switching over to something else, you might be missing that key nugget that you were meant to be here to grab. So I'm just asking, it's totally up to you, we're all adults here, but it's just more of a reminder that when we're present, we're much more capable of taking advantage of what's right in front of us. So thank you so much for having me. Let's dive in. I've got a really good one for you today that I'm super personally excited about. First of all, I think that we can all agree with this statement. It's easy to allow our days and our weeks and our months to go by and spend little to no time on what matters most. It literally feels like it's slipping through our fingers. And I will go into my definition of productivity, but I feel like when we are more present and we are more productive, that we almost get to stop time from just slipping through our fingers, because when we're investing our time, we're truly able to take care of the, take advantage of those moments, not just in our business, but our personal lives as well. One of my favorite quotes is by Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn says, "Time is our most valuable asset. Yet we tend to waste it and kill it and spend it rather than invest it." So just inviting you here to think about your time as a true investment. In fact, time is our most sacred and scarce resource. We can't make more time. We don't even know how much time we have. And time is truly an investment, because if you think about it, all the people around us that matter most to us want our time. Like, that is the true currency of love and being felt cared about, whether it be your clients, whether it be colleagues, people in your office, your children, your fur babies, your relatives, people in the community. Time is what they want of you. And so when we think about that, I think that it really sets the stage for understanding that it is our responsibility to be good stewards of our time, that to really make purposeful choices about how we're investing our time. And today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 12 time maximizers, so that you can maximize your time, so that you can be more productive. Now, I'm sure many of you have been on maybe multiple webinars with us, and I thank you so much for coming back. But I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with what my definition of productivity is, so that as we move forward, we're in alignment. For me, as the productivity specialist, I define productivity as investing your best time into your best activities, okay? Investing your best time into your best activities. So what is your best time? Your best time are blocks of focused, energized, distraction-free time. And your best activities are those actions necessary to achieving your goals. Now, we are talking here specifically about your business goals, but everything that we're talking about today is 100% transferable to our personal lives. I have personal goals of being a particular, present mom and a wife, and I have goals about my personal health, and I have goals about my business. And when you take this definition of productivity and you lay it over all of those areas of our lives, it fits. Because for me to be a present mom, or the type of mom I want to be, it's for me creating quality specific time that I am distraction free, where I'm spending time with my son. But it also is a requirement when I'm taking care of my body and I'm exercising. And it's also your best time when you're working on your high value tasks and projects in your business that are actually going to move the needle forward. So this definition is very much a framework that we can lay over any aspect of our life that we actually have a goal that we're going after. Now, the best activities are determined based on our goals, right? And so today, While most of my my webinars have been all about how to be more productive and what is productivity, I'm taking a step back and I'm going to share with you my top 12 time maximizers. And I believe that if we can create more time, okay, no, I just misspoke, not more time. If we can invest our time more wisely and effectively and efficiently, then we'll have more time to reallocate towards our high value activities. So today for this webinar, I'm assuming that we know what our high value activities are. Now, let's take a step back and let me give you some examples of why we don't often invest in our high value activities, which are our most productive activities. Number one, can you guess what the number one reason is we don't invest in our high value activities? We don't have enough time. I hear it time and time again. So we don't have enough time to go to the gym. We don't feel like we have enough time to have quality time with our spouses, our children, our family, our extended family. We may not feel like we have enough time to contribute in our community the way we want to. We also may not feel like we have enough time to go out and lead generate or handle all the clients that come from lead generating. And so since that's a number one reason or excuse for not doing our high value activities, I wanted to take a step back and I'm going to teach you some major important principles about how to maximize our time. Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I almost hate saying that because it's so cliche, everybody says that. But it's truly the same 24 hours. So we kind of have this container of time, a bank of time, and it's going to be up to you if you're going to utilize it the most effective and efficient way. Because if we're using it inefficiently, then it may be a true statement that you don't have time to do X, Y, and Z to achieve your goals. And that's not what I want for you. So going forward today, it's going to be addressing my top 12 time maximizers so that you can maximize your time, but not just to maximize your time for nothing, but to maximize your time so that you can, based on Jim Rohn's quote, take it and reinvest it in what matters most to you. And for you today, I want you to take a moment to determine, what matters most to you. What is something that you want to go after? We're actually creeping up on the last 6 months of 2018. So what is it that you want to do that you wish you had more time for? Alrighty, so you're going to go through this. You see here on the screen the 12 time maximizers. This is a downloadable PDF, and I'm going to give you a couple times to go ahead and download that. But if you want to download it and take this and put it up on your wall or keep it with you after today's webinar so you can reference back to it, you can go download that at timemaximizers.com. Again, that's timemaximizers.com. And it'll show up in an email for you with a PDF that you can download. Now, you don't need this to continue today's webinar, and I will have it again, the link at the end of the webinar if you want to grab it then. So let's get into time maximizer number one, okay? Eliminate activities. Now, why do I start here? Quite frankly, it's because we often have just simply too much on our plates. Because I work with high achieving entrepreneurs and real estate professionals, and we all want to be all things to all people. We are generally very active in all aspects. We're usually the go-to people in our families because we know how to get it done. We are usually contributing inside of our community or our children's schools because we know how to get it done. We also, because we're business owners and entrepreneurs and success mindset, we often have a ton of ideas that we want to take initiative on and we want to go after. Now, all of those are great qualities. And I can teach you the skill set of maximizing your time and being your most productive self. But sometimes we have to start at the basics. And the basics are, at some point for some of you, you simply have too much on your plate right now. And so I am going to invite you to think about what activities could you eliminate that no longer serve you or your goals currently. You see, we often overcommit ourselves to activities that don't bring us any closer to our goals or vision of success. Well, what we need to do is not commit to or engage in, but instead eliminate those activities that are not going to maximize your success. Now, this happens for two reasons. One is that you committed to something and it at some point did align with your goals and vision of success, but perhaps it no longer serves. Or you said yes to something because you thought it was X and it ended up being Y. Or it could be as simple as when you said yes to that activity, you weren't as clear about what your goals are as you are today. And all of that is okay. Now, eliminating activities is, we're talking about commitments, right? Now, I have a personal story, and I'm going to tell you this isn't always the easiest thing to do. I have been heavily involved in the local chapter of the National Speakers Association here in Las Vegas. I have met some of my closest friends, colleagues. I've met my mentors in there. And I was serving on the board for 4 years, and I was stated to be president in the next year. And so I had worked my way all the way up through the different, positions on the board. And my business took off quadrupled in 2017. And I was coming off of the tail end of my husband being gone, working out of state for a couple years. And he had come home. And I had a huge, realignment of my goals and my vision and where I wanted to be spending my time and energy, which is exactly what I just shared with you, because it's okay that these things change. But what happened is I had to walk the talk, the same thing that I tell my clients, and I had to eliminate activities, and I had to resign from the board. Now, this was a very emotional decision. I confided in my closest business friends, my husband, to make sure that this was a right decision. And the day came that I had to resign, and I chose to personally call every single person on the board. And I was nervous, and I was concerned about what the perception was of stepping back after I'd already committed. And every single person on the board said some variation of this. Good for you for knowing what it is that you need to be successful. Good for you for knowing what you can and can't do. So it ended up being a huge learning opportunity because I had drug out that decision making, thinking it was going to be so hard. Now, I'm sharing this story with you because my guess is there is something in your world that you've committed to that you no longer feels right for you. But I don't want the fear of you saying no or renegotiating the terms of your time investment in those activities to hold you back, because it was the best decision I made. And it was a huge learning experience, and it actually brought me closer to a lot of the people on the board because they admired the courage that it took to really stand for what it is that I wanted, and in my personal life and my professional goals. Okay, and so I want that for you as well. Time maximizer number 2 is to create a task list. Now, for some of you, you might hear creating a task list, and it's the idea of, okay, I have a Steno pad, and I have sticky notes, and I have, a task list on my digital, wherever you hold it digitally. I want you to create a single task list, and I want you to create it consistently every day. Now, this is, again, one of the basics, but this is a huge time maximizer because it is statistically proven that decision fatigue is a very real thing. And when we're going at a fast pace in our business and life, the last thing we need to do is to slow down and keep making a decision about what it is that we need to do next, because if we don't have it on a list, if we don't have it all contained into one place. Because without a task list, what happens is we become very reactive to our day and our environment, and we're not being proactive and actually going down a list to purposely check off that's going to get us closer to the things that matter most in our businesses and life. I want you to think about two different task lists here. So I want you to use a master task list that captures all the activities and tasks that you want to accomplish. So this task list could be really actually very long for some of us. So my master task list literally probably has between 250 and 300 things. Now, that might seem so overwhelming, but your master task list for me is the place that I put all these ideas and these things that I want to do. They're not necessarily things that need to happen today. But what happens is it ensures that it doesn't come through my head and back out, and that I never look at it again and I don't take action. Or worse, it comes in my head and swirls around and I keep thinking and thinking and thinking about it, and it doesn't allow space to actually do additional things because you're trying to hold these ideas and these tasks in your head. On a daily basis, based off of your master list, I want you to extract out the activities that you plan to complete for that one day onto your task list. Because I don't want you to be overwhelmed with all the things that need to happen. I want you to pull out the things that really matter, and that's your goal for the day. These are called, for me, like micro goals. So if you accomplish your specific goals of getting these things off your task list for this day, and then you do it tomorrow and you do it the next day, compounded, if you're pulling the right things off of your master task list to get done, you will be that much closer to achieving your overall goals. The other thing that is so powerful to this is to get it out of your head and onto either paper or digital. Now, I personally am a digital girl, but I'm not pro either one. There's some people that absolutely need to write this out. So if you're not currently utilizing a task list, start using a task list. If you're utilizing a task list and you're not consistent with it, I would ask that you recommit to being consistent. Because what happens is that when we're not consistent with using a task list, then we still default to keeping it in our head. And when we default to keeping it in our head, it's because we don't trust the system, we don't trust the process, that what we really need to do is on our task list. And so we don't really get the benefits of utilizing a task list. Okay, so some key nuggets out of this one is start using it, be consistent, and use the method that works best for you. At any given time, you can always find a steno pad. And I actually had that as a tip for you guys in one of your video productivity tips, I think last month, is a simple $1 steno pad can be your task list. Okay, so don't make it too complicated. All right, number 3 is plan your day. Now, I am a huge proponent of planning your day. I think that it is essential to maximizing your time. Planning your day is actually the probably most powerful way to maximize your day and your time. Okay, we did an entire WCR webinar on my 5 daily planning papers. And so I believe that's in your library, your education library. If you didn't get to be on that webinar, I would advise that you go take a watch. Or you can also listen to the 5 Daily Planning Papers podcast if you don't want to watch another webinar on Productivity Straight Talk, which is my podcast, where I go really deep into the 5 pillars of planning your day. But here's essentially what I'm telling you. I believe that consistently taking 15 minutes the night before or first thing in the morning to plan your day, I want you to review your scheduled meetings to ensure that you're prepared, and then review your daily task list and determine the order in which you will complete them according to priority. Okay, so at its simplest form is that you're going to prepare for the next day, and you're going to identify what truly needs your time, energy, and focus for that day, which is linking back to your task list, right? So plan your day. This also creates more opportunity for you to be proactive instead of reactive. Now, it is a true statement that you know, our days don't usually go as planned, right? And so, but that's not an excuse not to plan your day. I want you to consider planning your day like setting the railroad tracks to a successful day. And yes, you're going to get off pace and you're going to get a phone call and a deal might be challenged and, you know, the computer might break and whatever those things are that happen. But if you plan your day, while you may not get from A to Z, you might get A to D. And that's okay, because what's going to happen is every time you get pulled off to react to what's going on around you, you can more quickly come right back to your day that you planned and keep going down your list of tasks and projects and things that need your attention. All right, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so actually, this would be a good time. So I hope you guys can see the polling. How many of you currently are planning your days? So I want you to go ahead and put in the poll if you are currently planning. Okay, so question. So Olivia, can you remind me to show them how to do the poll?
Sure. If you are are you wanting to have them answer a question and raise their hand?
Oh yeah, that's what they can do. So they can raise their hand. Yes, I plan my day, right?
Okay.
Okay, that would be great. All right, so as those come in, I just want to see where we're at, because I know that many of you probably attended my 5 Daily Planning Pavers workshop. So if you're currently planning your day on a regular basis, go ahead and raise your hand. All right, excellent. So I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm gonna move on and I'll circle back to that. Okay, so number 4 is implement time blocking. All right, I really think that this is a great opportunity for you to carve out some specific time on your schedule each day to really be your most productive self. For those of you that have heard me present before, you'll know that I truly believe the goal is not to be productive all day, every day. Because the fact is that things are gonna happen, the computers are gonna break and kids are gonna get sick and clients are gonna call, and that's okay. But the goal is to carve out specific time on your schedule that you are gonna do your focused, distraction-free, high energy, that's the best time, on the activities that will move your business forward. So for you and your business, it's pretty simple and almost always very consistent in real estate. Your highest value activity that will get you to your goals are going to be around either lead generating, lead follow-up, or investing in your team so that you have leverage, because you could have a larger team. Now you're investing in your team so that they're doing lead generation and lead follow-up on your behalf. So it's either investing in your team, lead generation, or lead follow-up, and the last one would be projects. And so oftentimes we have projects in our businesses that we really want to get done that will actually move the needle forward. These could be things like upgrading or creating your listing presentation, fine-tuning your buyer consultation, creating a lead magnet so that people are attracted to you and you're gathering their information about something they're interested in real estate. Those are projects. They're multi-step things that are not currently being done in your business or need to be done. So they're one and done. That's what a project is. So something that gets done and then it's done unless it needs to be revised. I believe that there's a ton of benefit on focusing on a few key projects each quarter in your business, and the time to get those done, because oftentimes we say we don't have enough time, is through time blocking. Now, I don't want to be a broken recorder, but if you did not listen to the WCR webinar I did about time blocking, that can also be found in your library. So Olivia, if you're listening, maybe you can go ahead and put a link to your guys' library so that they can access that. And I also have a podcast episode, episode 11, all about time blocking that that goes into like some really specific challenges that most people have with time blocking. So if you've ever tried time blocking and it hasn't worked for you, I highly recommend you go deeper on this topic and watch the WCR webinar. So dedicating 90-minute blocks of focus, uninterrupted time to projects and priority tasks ensures that you accomplish them. Taking total control over that specific blocks of time allows you to consistently complete high priority tasks. Now, don't get like intimidated by 90 minutes. If you're currently not time blocking, start with 30 minutes or 20 minutes, okay? This is something you can definitely build up to for sure. All right, so this is a great way to maximize your time because now you've eliminated all distractions out of this time. And so the activities that you're going to do during this blocked focus time will actually be more effectively and efficiently done and not drug out. So if you could get 90 minutes of work done straight through and focused, if you tried getting that same amount of work done with distractions and answering your phones and checking your email and people walking into your office, one, chances are you would never get the 90 minutes of work done, or it could take up to double the amount of time to actually get the same amount of work done. So super inefficient. So if that's inefficient, the opposite is true. This is a huge time maximizer. All right, number 5 is stop multitasking. Now, I alluded to this in the beginning and when I asked that you don't multitask because we truly don't have the ability to switch tasks. Multitasking does not exist. Now, if you would have asked me many, many years ago, you probably would have seen multitasking at the top of my resume as something that I stood on to say, yes, I'm a good multitasker. But as I've really studied this and read books on it and statistics on it, and I have realized that we as humans really don't have the ability to multitask. What we do is that we switch tasks. Now, it's true that some of us are better at switch tasking, but there is always a loss of time when you switch from one task to the next, okay? This is huge because every time you're trying to switch tasks, there's inefficiencies from starting and stopping and starting and stopping. Another really good way to determine if you're multitasking, and works for me every time, is when I feel a sense of anxiety or stress or I'm frazzled, okay, so I'm becoming in tune with my body, I just stop and I ask myself, am I trying to multitask? And the answer is almost always yes. And at this point, I have to honestly chuckle at myself because I know that it's not a best use of my time. But it's not only not a best use of my time, it creates stress in my body. And I realize I'm making additional errors, whether they be typo errors or sending an email to the wrong person, or someone's talking to me and I'm in them and not listening. And then I have to ask them to repeat. So now I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting their time. Those are all indicators that you're multitasking. I am going to invite you to practice not multitasking, or more accurately referred to as switch tasking. The more often that you can be present in the moment of the activity or task that you're doing, the more effective and efficient you can be, thus maximizing your time. So multitasking wastes time and is inefficient. You are not capable of doing 2 activities at the same time well. Focus on one activity and then move on to the next, okay? So this is not an all or nothing, and this isn't a perfect like scorecard where you just one day decide you're not multitasking. So let me just give you some straight talk and real. This is something that you work on improving over time. It's about being conscious about when you're doing it and making the choice to not do it any longer. And so again, like I said, is as recent as Monday. So what's today? Wednesday. So Monday, I had just come back from a 10-day vacation / business trip in New York. and all the things, you know, hit you so hard when you come back, you know, a full inbox and projects and appointments and different stuff. And well, because I had actually created a buffer day on Friday where I was going to catch up, which is one of my tricks that I teach about traveling. And I actually came home sick. So I was in bed for 24 hours straight. So then Monday comes and I was literally frazzled because I caught myself multitasking. Because what happens is something in us believes innately, for many of us, that if we multitask, we're able to get more done quicker, and that we're able to kind of put this fire out and handle this and send this and do that. And it's not true. However, I fell back to that on Monday, and I stopped because I was feeling this anxiety and all these things that I needed to do. And I took a breath and I determined that I was trying to multitask. And then I prioritized and I set everything else aside and I focused on getting one thing done at a time, because honestly, I'm one person. So again, this is something we all practice all the time. Okay, so number 6 is take breaks. All right, now I'm gonna tell you that this is a huge time maximizer. And you may think that, well, there's no time to take breaks, right? Or there's too many things to take breaks. I'm telling you that taking a break, refueling your body, re-energizing you, switching your focus to something that doesn't have to do with writing a contract, answering a client's email, something related to real estate, or all the things that happen in our day, you've got to take a break, okay? It's really cultural here in America that we don't really value taking breaks, but in many parts of the world, they shut down for up to 2 hours a day to take a midday break or siesta. Now, that might not be right for you, and it might not even be possible to take a 2-hour break. That's an extreme. But what about taking 30 minutes and walking, or walking outside of your office, or stretching your body, getting water, fueling yourself with a good meal, nutrition? Because nutrition and what we put in our bodies allows us to be focused. It allows us to be most productive. So if that's true, then the opposite is true. If we don't take breaks and we're not eating healthy and we're always on the go, then you're not maximizing your time. There's many times that you're going to feel like you're just pushing through the day and you're pushing through a project or a task. And what happens is our efficiency gets reduced. We're not as effective. We can take our break, we can feel re-energized and refocused and come back and get that same activity done in a lot less time. So then what happens is you essentially got a free break because you could have pushed through and not gotten a break, or you take a break and you come back and you're still around the same amount of time. I've actually myself done it, my clients I've recommended this to just give it a try. Your breaks are essential to maximizing your time. So walking away from your work for just even a short time will re-energize you. Upon returning to work, you'll be able to complete your tasks with increased efficiency and a fresh pair of eyes and renewed focus. Now, because I am someone that really schedules out my entire day, and I am just someone that runs at a high pace through the week in my business, I literally have to schedule my lunch breaks, okay? So if you were to look at my calendar right now, you would see lunch break. And I do that because if I don't do that, I'm going to overlap a call or a meeting or think that I have an extra, 30 to 45 minutes in the day to get more tasks done. But what I know for myself is that if I don't take that midday break, I am much less effective in the afternoon. Also, because we're entrepreneurs, lunch doesn't have to be at noon. If you're an early morning person, then maybe your lunch for yourself, you take a break around 11. If you're later getting into the office and getting your day started, maybe you take a mid-afternoon break around 2 or 3. This is totally up to you. But the foundational principle here is to prioritize taking a break so that you can be more in tune and focused on your important work. All right, so that brings me to time maximizer number 7, saying no, okay? And I'm just gonna let that sit here for a second. Time maximizer number 7 is saying no. Sometimes we need to say no to say yes to ourselves. Number 1 time maximizer was eliminating activities. So that is when we've already said yes to something, or we already have something on our schedule, or that's our responsibility. But the inevitable questions of, can you do this? Can you be here? Can you help me with this? Can you do that? They always come in, almost every day for a lot of us. And having really strong boundaries around what you want to do and what you don't want to do, and what's in alignment with your goals and not in alignment with your goals, all comes down to saying no. Now, for some of us, saying no is a lot easier, and for some of us, it's a harder thing to do based on our personalities. Some of us are people pleasers, and the idea of saying no sounds selfish or not nice, or whatever our stories are around saying no. But here's the thing, nobody is going to show up and fight for your goals for you. Nobody's going to show up and say, Amber, I need you to do X, Y, and Z so you can go after your goals. Now, maybe your coach would, because that's what I tell my clients. But outside of your very close, family, friends, spouses, or your coach, the general world is not coming to your doorstep saying, you need to do X, Y, and Z. What's generally happening is every time you get an email or you meet for a coffee or a lunch, somebody's asking something of you, whether it be your time, your energy, your focus, your contribution. That's okay. And there's a time and place to say yes. And I'm not saying to say no to everything, but you need to be very discerning to what you say yes to. Because every time you say yes to something else, you're saying no to something else. Because as you know, we only have so much time, energy, and focus. And for me, what helped me say no was, if it's not a resounding yes, like, yes, I'm excited, yes, that's in alignment with my goals, or yes, I want to help you, then it's a no, okay? Because every single time we do that, we're then standing with one foot in and one foot out, and we often don't show up our best selves because we're over committed to all the things. So now, my way of saying no is going to be different than your way of saying no, and my way of saying no is different than my husband's. Now, my husband, as I'm a straight shooter, and I am, my husband is a total straight shooter. So his would be no, and he'd look at you, and then that's it. Like, no explanation, no further details needed. He's just determined his answer is no. So for me, that feels weird, right? It just doesn't feel in alignment with me or my personality. So my no sounds a lot different. My no is, no, I usually thank them for asking or the opportunity to help them, but right now I do not have the bandwidth to give it all that I want to give. If I truly mean it, I will say right now is not a good time, but I would love to circle back about this opportunity in the fourth quarter. And so mine is a little bit more than a no, but you have to be careful with that, because when we tell people no, anything past no being a complete sentence, you're generally giving people an opportunity to talk you out of your no, like you're giving them kind of ammo for that. And so I just want you to be very, very firm in your no. You can be gracious, you can be kind, but it's a no, okay? And then, here, let's see what we got here. It says, I want you to analyze every opportunity presented to you so that you can act upon it, only the ones that bring you closer to your vision of success. By saying no to others, you're saying yes to yourself. Now, this saying no and yes is not just a business thing. It's not just a personal thing. But personal affects business time, and business saying yes to things that you should say no to affect your personal time. Because if you're saying yes to everything, you're not going to be able to and be home by a certain time with your family, or if you're saying too much yeses in your business. If you say, you know, too much yeses in your personal life, you might be like, how do people work 40 hours? Like I am, you know, staying home to get the delivery for the neighbor. I'm picking up someone's kid. I'm, you know, being the chauffeur for almost every sporting event. Like you realize that because you're saying yes to everything, how is there time to really focus on the things that are going to get you closer to your goals? Now, if your goal in your vision of being the mom or the parent that you want to be is being that, you know, carpooling mom so you could talk to all the kids and you know, spend time with your kid, then do it, right? Because that's in alignment with what you believe your goals are. So there's no right or wrong thing here. It's about finding what you want to say yes and say no to. All right. So I just want to answer that I don't see anything with raising hands. So I don't think we got that to work or that people were voting. So I didn't forget about it. I just wanted to let you know I don't see.
Amber,
Yes.
just to let you know really quick, if you go to the attendees area, do you see that in the right-hand side? There's a
Yes.
little, okay, hit the little drop-down box, and then that'll show you all of the hands that are raised. You can see everybody's name and those who did not raise their hand.
Oh, I've been looking at just you and I. It could have been just you and I on this conference here. Okay, there we go. We got hands raised.
All right, cool.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, yeah, so there's many of you. Zena, you're planning your day. Vicki, you're planning your day. Teresa and Siri, yeah. So planning your day is really, really a great opportunity to, you know, conquer the day before it conquers you, because some days we seriously feel like, oh my gosh, we got our butts kicked. And I believe that the days that we plan and we have a plan of attack before it attacks us, while we may never go as planned, allows us to actually get more of what we want to get done. All right, well, thank you. Thanks, Olivia, for chiming in. I did not see all that, so that's great. Okay, so 8, we're on 8. Time maximizer number 8 is start delegating. Delegate more if you're already delegating, but for goodness sakes, please delegate. Okay, now there are all levels of business in here. You may have not closed a deal in a little while. You may be closing multiple deals a month here. So I want to talk to all levels. When we're new and we're kind of in that startup phase of our business, the idea of delegating seems like, yeah, that's great, but I'm the one that has to wear all the hats. When we are, you know, higher in our level in our businesses, like, you know, scaling up in our businesses, the idea of delegating seems great, and we're probably doing it, but there's a way to do it at even a higher level. So I'm going to give you some ideas of delegating, and I'm going to start with startups, and I'm going to go all the way up. So, you know, when you're a startup and you have little funds to delegate, I want you to get creative. I want you to look for those people around you that have skill sets that you could barter or trade. So there might be another real estate agent in the office that's really, really good at creating flyers, and there's somebody else that's really, really good, or yourself maybe really, really good at social media. Perhaps you can trade, because the more you stay in your zone and don't try to learn a whole new skill, you'll be much more effective and efficient, and you're not doing it yourself. I also want you to consider some other options. So it's not an all or nothing having an assistant. It could be, you can share an assistant. You could do, so like an assistant sharing, like part-time for each of you. You can find someone that wants to do piecework for you. So maybe you hire out specific projects, like building your website, or just doing your flyers for you, or what are some other things? Anything that's project specific, where there's a beginning and an end and it's reoccurring in your business. That's a great way to hire somebody as an independent contractor without having to bring on an employee. So really think about that. Now, I'm going to take this one step back, and I'm going to tell you that the first place you delegate doesn't have to be in your business. The very first place I delegated was hiring a house cleaner. Okay, I'm going to be straight up. Like literally, the first $300 profit in my business got paid to me and straight to the house cleaner. Just come twice a month. I knew that that was literally like a first line goal on my business, was that I needed to leverage finding essentially 2 6 to 8 hour Saturdays a month that I wanted back. Because I had just been, you know, I'm working hard on building my business, I'm working throughout the week, and the last thing I wanted to do was spend all day Saturday cleaning my house. And so I, with $300, reclaimed 2 full days a month, and my house was cleaner than if I tried cleaning it myself, because I would piece it, right? You'd clean a little bit here and a little bit there. So definitely think about that. Other things you can delegate is getting your car washed. You can delegate having your dry cleaning picked up and dropped off. These are all things that you can have delegated within your personal world, that you're reclaiming time, and now you can reinvest in your business. Now, let's take this a step further, and you have more profits in your business, and you're really looking at building your team. You can essentially delegate every single thing in your business except for what your zone of genius is, and then leading them. So your zone of genius might be connecting with your clients and going on coffee dates and writing up contracts. You could stay in your zone of genius of being just a listing agent, and then you get a showing agent or a buyer's agent, an administrative assistant. I think we all know that there's a lot of tiers to building a team. Delegate to your spouse. So that's another big thing, is that sometimes, I'm going to speak in general, but I'm assuming most of us here are women, and a generality with us is that we like to, maybe we don't like it, but we do it, we like handle all the things. And so maybe we need to take a step back and say, you know, spouse, I am really looking at investing my time and ramping up my business. Here are my goals. And to do that, it would really be helpful to do the laundry, or cook 2 meals a week, or whatever that looks like in your personal dynamic. There can be a lot of leverage that doesn't cost you anything. And then also something that I recently did in the last 3 months was I hired a personal assistant / nanny. So, you know, I have 2 goals, essential goal, well, 3. So I'm either running my business, I'm being a wife, or I'm being a mom. Those are like my top 3 priorities. And all the other stuff that it takes to run a household are not the things I love to do, and they're not my zone of genius. So I hired a personal assistant that, you know, picks my son up and takes him to practice, and picks up the dry cleaning and does laundry and dishes and things like that. Now, I've been in business for 6 years. This wasn't like I was raised this way. And I need to tell you this, there's a lot of mindset that goes around this. I was raised extremely poor. Like, honestly, my job when I was in probably 5th grade and up was that I cleaned homes with my mom. She was a house cleaner. And so seriously, single mom, very poor. It was like the family business that if I could help, we could get more houses done in a day. That was what I had to work through to then grow up, move past those stories, and leverage through other people, and know that I found someone that's amazing, that loves serving, that this helps with income into her home, and she's a perfect fit for our family, and helping me do the things that allow me to be present in my business, or take time off for myself, or be a mom or a wife. So this isn't something that I'm bragging about, but rather sharing with you, to have the power of delegation so that you can stay in your zone of genius and aggressively go after your personal and professional goals. Okay, so start delegating or continue delegating in your personal and professional life. Outsourcing is essential because it frees you up your time for your highest value activities. So if you're being really honest with yourself, you need to get really clear about those highest value activities. And if you have the story that you don't have enough time, then you need to go back to what can you delegate? What can you say no to? What can you stop doing? You see how these are all theming together? It's all to have enough time on what matters most. So number 9 is processing your emails. Now, this is a goodie, and you might be like, well, what's processing your emails? It's not checking your emails. So checking your emails is cherry picking what emails you want to respond to and when, And unfortunately, what happens is that there's lost emails, missed opportunities, and heaven forbid the email falls off the bottom of the page onto the second page. Processing your emails is going into a proactive mindset. Checking is you're just checking them as they come in. Processing them allows you to have focused blocks of time, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, that you sit down and you make a decision about each of the emails that come into you. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to take action on them. It could be that they show up on your to-do list to focus on later that day or tomorrow. But it does force you to make decisions. Now, I'm actually recording a podcast episode tomorrow all about how I manage my emails and the difference between checking and processing them. So if you're not already a Productivity Straight Talk listener, you might want to listen, because it's going to come out in a week, 2 weeks. It'll come out in 2 weeks, and it's going to be all about how to conquer your inbox, to make sure that you contain it and maintain it, and not allow it to run your entire day. You see, there is so much wasted time being spent in our inboxes. Our inboxes are never a place where you're going to find the activities that are going to take you towards your goals. So let me say that again. Your inbox will never be an email that says, hey, Amber, go lead generate. Hey, Amber, I need you to, create a marketing campaign to attract additional clients. Like, that's things that you put on your list. That's not things that show up in your inbox. So if you're in your inbox all day, every day, you're just maintaining your business and you're working in your business and not on your business. So checking emails just overloads your inbox with emails that you have read over and over again. Okay, let's just take a pause. You know that's true. You read them, you reread them, and you reread them. Regularly set time aside daily to identify actions that need to be taken upon every email. And so the 5 decisions that you're going to make on every or any email are delete, delegate, respond, reply, file, or add it to your task list, meaning scheduling it for another time. Okay? And again, we'll go much deeper into that on an upcoming episode. All right, so next is number 10 is organize your space. I truly believe that while some of you believe that you work best in a work environment that may not be super organized, that is either a story you're telling yourself or it's true. Okay, it could possibly be true that if you worked in a clean work environment with nothing around you and everything was organized, it might not allow you to work because you're so used to working in more of a disorganized space. But a big but. Chances are it's a story to tell yourself that it's okay to work in a disorganized space. Why this is a time maximizer is because if you're wasting time looking for things, keys, files, papers, ideas, tasks, you name it, if you're wasting time looking for these things, you're not investing your time into the activities that will actually grow your business. So stop wasting your time through disorganization. Now, we do know that organization is not the same as being productive, because there's organized people that are not productive, meaning they're not investing their time into their best activities. And there's really disorganized people that are really, really productive, meaning they are truly carving out that time for the things that matter most. However, if you're telling yourself you don't have time to do your high value activities because you're wasting your time looking for things because of disorganization, you need to create an organized work environment. All right? So create an environment that supports your productivity. An organized space is an efficient space. The less time you spend searching for supplies, the more time you have to focus on your high value activities. Okay, number 11. Time maximizer number 11 is managing interruptions. Okay, now managing interruptions is like, while you can't necessarily control how, the people around you, and which I'm not telling you you can control how you make yourself available to them. Okay, let me say that one more time. While you cannot control the people around you, you can't control how you make yourself available. So are you turning off your phone and not accessible 24/7? Are you shutting your door and putting a do not disturb sign? Are you finding space in your world where you are not being interrupted all the time? Are you setting expectations of when you can be interrupted and not interrupted? Interruptions are a huge time waster, and they almost always start with, do you have a minute? Which is never a minute. So I want you to take a victor mentality, not a victim, and take control of how you make yourself available to others. This could be a huge time maximizer. And lastly, number 12 is minimize distractions. Now, distractions can come in all forms. They can come on, chimes and rings and dings and email alerts and social media updates and voicemails. Oh my gosh, it goes on and on, okay? There are distractions all around us. But you, again, have the power to remove yourself from those. Now, it's not like you're never going to remove yourself from all of those all the time, but during your productive, focus, distraction-free time to focus on your high-value activities, you can turn all those off. And I do highly recommend that you go through your notifications for your apps and really only keep on the ones that you really, really need. I think I only have probably 5 of all the apps I have on my phone, 5 that I allow notifications. You should always, and I hate using the word should, I highly recommend that you turn off your email notifications, okay? You will check your emails. It's not like you're not going to check them. But if you are being distracted every time an email comes in, you will never find focus within your day for your high value activities, okay? So those are my 12 time maximizers. And again, you can certainly download those, the PDF to remind you about what we talked about today. We talked about a lot. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to download this, and I want you to circle and choose the one that you're going to focus on, that you're going to work on improving. And once you determine that you've made improvements and moved in a direction that you want in your world, like planning your day, then I want you to choose another one, and then another one. But don't go on a crash diet and try and change everything all in one day, all 12. So this is a really here's the toolbox. You pick the ones that you want to work on improving and implement to get the best results. And I want to remind you that all of this, to maximize our time, is so that we can invest our best time into our best activities and find those focused, energized, distraction-free times because we created them, and that we're really, really doing the activities that move the needle forward in our lives. All right, so next action steps. You can download the Time Maximizers PDF, and you can go to timemaximizers.com, and that's with an S. And just leave me your name and email address, and I'll send you an email with a direct download link. And I am so excited that you guys take advantage of that opportunity. And I also reference podcasts. So some of you are already great podcast listeners. Some of you, this might be new for you. You can listen to podcasts wherever podcasts are played, and my show is on. So iTunes, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio. You can even listen on YouTube. Or if you're not already got a platform, you can go directly to my website, productivitystraighttalk.com. Again, that's productivitystraighttalk.com, and you can listen straight from my website. But if you want it on the go ahead and find your favorite podcasting app. And lastly, I want to offer you a 30-minute success breakthrough session. So if you haven't already taken me up on this, and you're in a position in your business that you're looking to find a coach that can help you take the action in your business that you're looking for, then I invite you to apply to my successbreakthroughsession.com. It's a quick little application where I'm just getting to know you a little bit and making sure you're in great alignment with what I am doing here in my business and helping support real estate professionals. And so you can do that by going to successbreakthroughsession.com. It's free 30 minutes. You give me 30 minutes and I will show you how to reclaim 5 hours a week, tailored just for you. All right, that's all I have, Olivia. We're done today.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Amber. And just for those of you who have asked, the recording will be saved at wcr.org under online events. You'll have to log in to access the recording, but this, along with all of Amber's other webinar recordings, you can access those once you've logged in. Thanks again, Amber.
Oh, you're welcome. Awesome. Thank you for having me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.